Okay, we's here. Good
We
eve
here.
good evening. Okay. I went back, I looked at the first one and I realized I didn't do justice because you have to introduce yourself and your credentials and everything. And then because nobody knows us over here in this land. So go ahead.
Dang, I just got out of a presentation where I did a lot of talking about me. I don't feel like I want to talk about me right now.
Just a brief summary
Uh,
of who is Dr. Toy.
all right. Well, I'm Dr. Latoya Kelly out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I have a private practice. It's a forensic private practice. So primarily what I do is profile people's personalities and get an idea of when they would commit another behavior and look at what that behavior might be and when it might happen. And the reason that I'm doing that is for the criminal court so that they can get an idea of whether this person might commit another crime and what kind of sentence they should have or what kind of treatment they should get. Instead, or I look at the brain and get an idea of what behaviors are happening based on brain chemistry. And a very small part of the practice is also related to trauma and me treating the victims or the survivors, whichever is preferred by the person, but treating the victims or survivors of criminal assaults and criminal offenses.
Okay. So and with that, do you can you prescribe medicine and everything and
I do not. I'm a psychologist.
okay.
So, psychologists look at behaviors and treatments, and psychiatrists is who prescribe medication.
Okay, so the psychologist, not the psychiatrist. Gotcha. Okay, so
Mhm.
so
I do real work.
you do real work. Okay, you don't do okay.
I do
We ain't
real work.
anyway. We ain't gonna throw pigs at nobody over here. Uh, some of that stuff start to sound like Minority Report. Like I get to figure out what's gonna happen before it happened, and then head it off at the past, and then tell them what they're gonna do, so we can punish these people.
Yep. Yep. Or treatment. I said treatment.
Treatment, yeah, yeah, or treatment or punishment or whatever. But
Yep.
you
Or treatment.
you
Or
deal with
both.
personality types, or but you deal with personality types, so that goes with
I
the
do.
we're talking about basically. Um,
Yeah, most of the times, I am working with people who have profound personality disorders, um, primarily what's called cluster B personality disorders, and for people that's been hanging out on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, you hear a lot about narcissistic personality disorder. But there's also antisocial personality disorder and borderline personality disorder. And one that I leave out quite a bit, which is histrionic personality disorder, because I don't hear it as much in my field. I don't run into that one as much in terms of criminal behavior. But yeah.
okay, so since you said it, you got to say what it is because nobody knows what histrionic is. Let's just
Okay, so well, do I have to say what they all are?
no, I'm just
Because
saying
most
histrionic.
people know what narcissism
Yeah,
is,
most
but they
people
don't
know
really
the
know the other ones.
antisocial also, but not histrionic. I never heard that before.
Oh,
So
okay. So histrionic personality disorder are the people who they have a very high need to be the center of attention, and to basically have all eyes on them. And so I don't see it as often as the other ones, which come with a lot of anger, like antisocial, comes with a lot of rule breaking and a lot of violating other people's boundaries. And borderline comes with a lot of emotional instability. So they they feel their emotions intensely and they act out. So they stalk people quite a bit, um, get really angry, lash out, murder people or try to murder people. And then everyone knows about narcissism. I don't see histrionics as much in my field, but I actually just wrapped up a recent case with a lady who was histrionic. And unfortunately, it was a sex offending case, and it was her high need to be the center of attention that put her in a position where a child molester essentially fed that need to be the center of attention so that he could have access to her kid.
mhm.
And she unfortunately allowed it.
Okay, so that is actually in this space we're in now. That is actually important. Histrionic is going to be important because in social media world we see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
goes
see
along
a lot of that on reality TV.
that too. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's important in what we deal with and what we talk about a lot too is
Mhm.
history. Um, so me, I don't have no doctorate, none of that important titles and all that stuff behind it, but I've dealt with a lot of women. Um, both personally and not and just in day to day and everyday dealings. And I've become a student of people, so I've been able to
Mhm.
like up close and personal, just observe and figure out what type of personality types. And I read a lot, awful lot. So
Mhm.
my own self-taught type of whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
um,
And don't sell yourself short. You raised me.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. But I try not to like talk about myself a lot because people when black men talk about themselves, women automatically, oh well, he just talking shit. He don't, it's always and we're gonna get into this, the title of the show and everything, but it's always that a black man does not know as much as a black woman. It's just automatically, you don't know this, you don't know that, you're just a man. I've heard that so many times when we was working together, like you just a man, you don't know that. So, it's my personality type is I'm gonna know everything. If I'm gonna be talking about something, I'm gonna
Mhm.
know about it. So that's just who I am.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a huge disservice because I think when we're talking about the Black unit and the Black culture,
Hmm.
Black women have had more opportunities to achieve their success through degrees and things. We've had more opportunities to go to college, to go to grad school, to get grants, to get money.
Hmm.
And a lot of times our men were in the home working and then help supplementing and providing the money that got us through school. So, I mean, shouts out to my ex-husband.
Okay. All right.
Shouts out to him. He worked very hard to make sure I got this degree, and it disadvantaged him in the way that it disadvantages a lot of Black men. They're out there working, they're providing. The women are getting the opportunity to go to school. They're launching their careers, and the men are kind of sitting back supporting that and not getting the option to go to school, and get into their careers if school was one of their goals. So
And also from that through policy also because policy heavily helps the black woman. Women
hmm
very very helpful for black women because you're a double minority.
hmm
Just wanted to point that.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And
that's help
it's
black men.
it is. It's craps in comparison to what everybody else got.
Mhm,
Is I went to two private white schools, both for my master's and my doctorate.
mhm,
It's pennies in comparison to how they was helping them,
mhm.
but it was significantly more than what they were willing to give to the black man. Yeah.
Okay. So with that said, we've get ran down. We did justice to, your profession and everything, your credentials. So we're gonna get into the actual topic. I'm all just gonna
Okay.
well, first of all, we never said let's do this first. We're gonna talk about real quick, because this is going to be solely about men, but we can't talk about men
Mhm.
without talking about women in relation
Mhm.
to that. So first, we're going to start off on why women want to be in a relationship. And we're talking about heterosexual. This is the context of this conversation. It's heterosexual
Okay.
relationship. So
Okay.
I looked this up, and I'm going to pull this up.
All right.
There's a couple reasons: to curb loneliness, great sex. Uh, Stay with you after, and no matter how the sex was, true feelings here, and some leave and hop on to others, whatever. But companionship, to get married gradually, just for the sake of it. Because my friends my friends are getting in a relationship, so I'm gonna do it too. Uh,
Mhm.
to get temporary financial support and they say for a spineless individual. I didn't write this, y'all, ladies. I didn't write this. Came from a woman. Uh, so they say for temporary financial support. Uh, Puppy love, and they say that's immaturity. Knowing the worth of the individual, knowing the fact that I would not get a better person than him or her. It is better I stick with him or her to make my life meaningful. Love eventually will follow. And they say true
Mhm.
love and true relations demand nothing except good intentions for each other. So, that's sums up some reasons. Do you know any other reasons, relationships, or does that cover pretty much all of
Mm, so we had loneliness.
it? Hmm.
We had for financial support. We
Hmm.
had because other people are also in a relationship. And let's see. Um, I mean, outside, and then we also had sex. So yeah, people get into relationships for sex too.
Constant.
Um, so I would say protection wasn't on there.
Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna.
Yeah, like
That's
and
very.
feeling safe in the home. Like there, I know a lot of women who are now divorced and who are buying their first houses or have bought their first houses out of divorce and are just terrified them first few weeks they in their house. Even if they're in a good neighborhood, even if they're in a good suburban neighborhood. So I would say protection is one of the reasons. And then love,
Yeah.
like genuine, authentic agape love, not fake, not infatuation or practical love, but genuine, authentic agape love.
Yeah, where you can't place your finger on it. I love this person just because this person is this person, and I just genuinely love them.
I just do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
hmm
let's touch on that. So you touched on something. I'm gonna put the title and the context of this conversation up first. Um, the title is "The Measure of a Black Man," and we're specifically talking about the ADOS man, which is a American descendant of slaves. There's
hmm
men in America, but we have to specifically focus on this guy because this man has some, just some circumstances that don't affect other men. Being descendant of slave,
hmm
there's trauma there. So that's why
hmm
this person,
Lots of it.
yeah, lots of trauma. So let me go. Let's first start because you did mention this. So since you mentioned, I'm gonna go ahead and put this up. What do men provide? Because of trauma, because of everything we've been programmed in America, we've lost to basically what men are, who men are. You got a lot of women say they don't need men because they don't see They don't see the
Mhm.
importance of men in their life outside
Mhm.
of certain things, and they don't specifically know that. So I'm just gonna put this
Yeah.
up. It comes from a sister I follow on YouTube called Crimson. Well, she's Crimson Cure actually, and
Okay. I
she's a
remember her.
yeah. So she's an author. Damn it. So let me take this banner off because you can't see the bottom of it. And this is the male nature basically. Um, damn it. That damn live in a way. So well, anyway, I know what it is. Um, so this is the four P's, which as she refers to it, the first four P's. So protection was the first one. He produced masculine light, giving him the
Mhm.
ability to look well, not protection, I'm sorry. Um, what is it? I didn't forgot what the hell it was. Hold on one sec. The first P is it's not problem solving. Damn it. It's foresight, but I can't remember what she called it. Problem solving, protection, procreation, and there's
Google it.
no, I'm not gonna Google it. I'm gonna pull it up because I have it right here. And it's crazy because my behind talks about this and I can't remember it now. We're on live. It's a provision. That's what it is, provision. So
Mhm.
yeah, the first P is provision. You know, he produces masculine light, giving him the ability to look ahead and or prepare in advance. He generates stability in the form of ideas, supplies, food, finances, clothing, housing, etc. Usually, when you say provision, the only thing that comes in the mind of women is money. You know, he gives
Mhm.
money. He has a certain
Yeah.
amount of money that he can help me out with, but they don't understand the stability in form of his ideas. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, base supplies and everything. You know the, even the provision is partial. His logic is partial to provision. Because
Mhm.
things women have a thing about everything is possible, right?
Mhm.
Women deal in possibility, men deal in
Mhm.
probabilities.
Mhm.
That's part of provision and also problem solving, which is number two.
Yeah.
uh, Problem solving, his ability to think in a linear and analytical fashion, to be able to dissect and resolve issues effectively. His
Mhm.
problem solving saves time, minimizes waste of energy, money, etc. He uh, he necessitates order out of confusion and chaos and brings a sense of peace. Um, Number three is protection, which you mentioned, shielding from
Yeah.
harm, fronting danger, but also in the form of very structured. He creates or provides that
Mhm.
cover as physical absent or any hostile environment. This includes rules and guidelines he sets. And that's something people don't, never talk about when it comes to protection. The whole order that
Mhm.
has is a form of protection. When he tells you
Yep.
not, hey,
Yep.
we're not doing this. We're not doing this. A lot
Mhm.
of the system not understand that's part of him protecting. Is
Yeah.
seeing
Or the controversial one when he tells you not to wear a certain outfit.
exactly, and
This
that
comes up a lot on social
yes,
media where women are arguing about that. He's
mhm,
being controlling.
and
Well,
that
I mean, I learned that that's not necessarily being controlling, but that came from a man that was willing to sit me down and to
mhm,
have a discussion with me where he said, "I'm not being controlling. My job is to protect you. And what you don't understand is when you dress like that, that attracts negative male attention. And now I gotta fight these dudes."
you making it hard for me and put me in a bad situation, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, perfectly said. Because that is exactly what happens. That's his first form of protection is protecting you before something even happens. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it doesn't
And
has to fight. He never has to do any of that.
yeah. And that was what he pointed out for me. Like, I'm ready to fight for you.
Mhm.
And we don't have to do it. So if we don't have to go to toe to toe with people, then it's just best not to.
Mhm. And it could go up into problem solving because it could cost him financially that way he gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get
Mhm.
out. problems. You know, I mean,
Right.
fail, whatever, you know. So,
Yep.
uh, and the last one is procreation, which is physical intimacy ranging from affectionate touches, words of sexual words to sexual intercourse, any and all expressions of love, care, or support. The creation and raising of his children, legacy, with his values and his cultural and the culture of his household. So that's the
Mhm.
procreation part of it, you know. Which is, we just stop at sex basically when it comes to procreation. We just stop at sex, but they don't talk about the love that he has for you,
Mhm.
the
Well, I'll
care.
talk about all the. I know you don't like love languages, but love languages resonates with a lot of people. We don't talk about the love languages, but outside of that, we don't talk about the intimacy that goes into sex, like the intellectual parts that
Mm,
stimulate people, the discussions that stimulate people.
mhm.
Number two stimulates people. Like I am attracted to men that know how to problem solve.
And women don't give men credit because the thing is, men are the chasers. They're the ones that pursue. So in order to get what they want as far as the woman, they have to those four P's have to be in order. Even with the
Mhm.
procreation, like him being able to arouse you without touching you, without
Mhm.
being able to
Without touching you. Yep.
yeah, without that's part of that procreation that nobody talks about. But they give it
Yep.
bad name. We are over sexualized and it's just sex. We have to know something about women, black women specifically.
Mhm.
Okay, so I got a ton of videos, so I'm gonna get in the first video. First of all, the first video we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna do this. Well, yeah, let's do this Martin Luther King, Measure of a Man, because this we're gonna go in order.
All right.
The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the times of challenge and controversy. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., Strength to Love, 1963.
So that right there is something I like to quote when I'm talking to women and we're talking about what is a man, because the thing is you only see the surface level. And I've heard people refer to some places they refer to seeing somebody in all their seasons. It's knowing who person when you see them in all these seasons. Um, but the thing is, you will
Mhm.
know that person when they're in difficult times. You will know exactly what you got.
Mhm.
So um, that's the ultimate, like I say, the ultimate measure of a man. It's not about what he drive, with how he dress,
Mhm.
swag, and all this other stuff. That's what
Yeah.
usually gets focused on, and that's why we have issues really when it
Mhm.
comes to finding somebody to love. Find that man to love. We have issues because of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think society, and I'm about to play this other video, but I think society has done this to black men when it comes to making black men worth anything. They tied into women, right? They tied into how much they
Mhm.
can do for women, and in defining that manhood. And I think that's the wrong
Mhm.
way of doing it. So I'm gonna play this video and we're gonna talk about this
Mhm.
this one.
Okay.
No man is a man without a woman. It's a woman that helps the man to be a man. A man that don't have a woman don't know if he's one. What do I mean by that? A woman will test you to see if you are what you say you are. Any woman that you fall in love with, she love you too, but she gonna try you. That's her nature. She gotta know that she can depend on you. She gotta know that you'll stand up for her. She got to know that you'll back up the children that she brings in the world for us.
So
Can we play it again?
yeah, because I think the first part cut out. Yeah.
No
Mhm.
man is a man without a woman. It's a woman that helps the man to be a man. A man that don't have a woman don't know if he's one. What do I mean by that? A woman will test you to see if you are what you say you are. Any woman that you fall in love with, she love you too, but she gonna try you. That's her nature. She gotta know that she can depend on you. She gotta know that you'll stand up for her. She got to know that you'll back up the children that she brings in the world for us.
Okay. So tell
Mhm.
me what you think about that.
When I was watching it, it reminded me of squirrels.
Squirrels? What the what? Okay, please explain that.
So it reminded me of when I was like,
Mm,
I think I was maybe in like the third grade, right? And we're learning about animals. And we learned how with squirrels. So you know how you see the one squirrel running around a tree, and then there's a second squirrel chasing that squirrel
mhm,
around the tree,
mhm,
and one squirrel catches the other squirrel, and it looks like they're fighting.
mhm,
So we were talking about that in class, and as kids, we all thought they were fighting.
mhm,
And the teacher explained that they're not fighting,
mhm,
that that's how the woman squirrel tests the man squirrel to know if she wants to mate with him.
mhm.
Because if he can't overpower her, she doesn't trust that he can overpower another male squirrel, and he can't protect their babies. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
what that's what I was thinking about when I was watching the video, because that comes to my mind periodically
Mhm,
when I think about relationships with people.
mhm,
We do the exact same thing. So when Louis Farrakhan was saying she's going to test you because she has to know that you can back up those kids,
mhm,
that is what I was thinking about. Like, I think that there's a lot of truth to that.
mhm,
And I think a lot of that comes from like our very animalistic hindbrain,
mhm.
where people function more like animals and things were about survival. And so that testing you is that survival instinct in women to see, am I bringing home that man that's a protector? So one of the four P's that I can't remember her name, but the lady that does the
Crimson
is
Cure.
it Crimson Colors?
Crimson Cure.
Huh?
Crimson Cure, and her name is Kid.
Crimson Clear. Yeah. I think that's one of the P's that she's talking about. But I think it's actually probably a few of those P's. So even the problem solving P's. Um, there's the test, and there's then the man's ability to have to figure out how he's going to solve this problem
Mhm,
in order to assure his woman that he's capable.
mhm. So I agree with that. I agree with the latter part of his statement, because like you said, it is
Mhm.
animalistic. That is something that women do. I think black women don't know when to quit. I think they keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. I think that's a problem. But the beginning of
Yeah.
it, I have a problem with that is that no man is a man without a woman, and I think that's the problematic
Mhm.
part of that because
Mhm.
it it, it kind of insinuates that I'm not a man until I get with a woman or until I get with you. I'm not a real man
Mhm.
until I get with you, and that's a problematic part because I'm a
Mhm.
man regardless. I mean, that means if you leave me, I'm no longer gonna be a man. I'm no longer gonna be worth anything, and I think that's where we see as black men we've saw
Mhm.
ourselves through the eyes of women through in conjunction with how women view us and and measured our
Mhm.
worth towards that. And I think that's bad. That can be very damaging
Mhm.
uh psychologically and emotionally and everything else. Um why you see men kill themselves, after a breakup or something like that,
Mhm.
or kill the woman because I'm not
Mhm.
working, I'm not with her. So I think that's a problematic
Mhm.
statement and way of viewing manhood.
Right. But do you
Anything?
see that that's falls in line with the statement for a lot of women, not
Mhm.
just black women? Even though I hear a lot of people go, no other culture says this but black women, which is not true. I am surrounded by white women who say this. I live in Wisconsin. I am surrounded by white women who say this. But
But
the statement
they're,
of I
they're,
don't need a man.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. All right. Yeah, and I
No,
understand
the
that.
statement of I don't need a man, because what you just described being a problematic statement for black men is
Mhm.
equally a problematic statement for black women. That concept of I'm not nothing if I don't have a man.
Um, and the thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't talk to a bunch of black men, so I've never heard a black man say a black woman is not a woman without a man. I've never heard that. I've heard women say that. I've heard women express that to other women. Go ahead.
I've heard women express that to other women. I've had heard grandmothers
Okay. But it's usually
express
women
that
who say it.
to daughters and granddaughters. But
Mhm,
I have also heard, as a woman,
mhm, mhm.
I've heard men say that,
Okay.
like a number of times.
Okay.
A number of times I've heard men say that, and I've heard men say it to me directly to my face.
So you're not a good woman or real woman if you don't have a man in your life, basically.
If you don't have a man, there's something wrong with you. And then you can go into, well, what if I'm taking a break? No, mm-mm.
Well, okay, so
No.
I think we're kind of talking
If
about
you
different.
ain't got a man, there's something wrong with you.
No, I think, and we're talking about different things because I'm saying it doesn't make you a woman, it doesn't make you less of a woman. What they're saying is there might be something wrong there if you don't have a man. If you can't keep a man, there might be something wrong. It doesn't say you're not a woman, you're not a good woman if you don't have a man. It's just like, okay, you might be
Mhm.
problematic if you don't can't keep a man. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I'm getting from that.
But that's the same thing. Like, I'm hearing it as the same thing. If you're saying I'm not a good woman if I can't keep a man, that's the same as saying that, oh, problematic if I can't keep a man. Oh,
Man,
I'm not worth it if I can't keep a man, or I'm not worthy if I can't keep a man. Like, we can move the negative words out. We can change them out, but it
so
kind of boils down to the same thing for a lot of women who for a long time have been taught that if they did not have a man, they were of no value, no matter how smart they were, or no matter how pretty they were, or how fine they were, or their careers, or how stable they were. If you don't got a man, none of that
I
matters.
agree with that. I agree that society wise it does, but I was saying strictly from a man telling a woman that I'm thinking it's more of him trying to
Mhm.
look at you as far as being a viable person that he might want to deal with, and he's making a
Mhm.
assessment based on that, not saying
Mhm.
that you're worth less of a woman or whatever. It's just like for me trying to deal with you,
Mhm.
this might be a red flag, and that's what I'm getting from that statement.
Right.
Okay.
But do you see how that's a
Well,
problematic
I see why
red
how
flag?
women I see how women can so I see how women can look at that and internalize or hear that and internalize that.
Mhm.
I understand that part of it.
Mhm.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
we're not saying y'all had a whole movement, late 60s to fight against
Mhm.
that, whatever, and it stuck. So I mean, well, y'all don't even care what men say no more. So, but I
No,
understand that.
I don't think that's true.
You-
Like,
you-
talk to all the women that stay in bad relationships because they're like, I'd rather have a piece of a man than have no man. So I'd rather have the man that hits me, the man that
Mhm.
calls me out my name, the man with poor problem solving skills, poor communication skills, poor leadership skills, because I'm nothing if I don't have a man.
No, and that goes with this low self-esteem. Um, no, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. That's we have women like that. But I'm saying as a whole
Mhm.
society, it's like you hear a lot of people echo, and we also got to say this: what women say and what women do a lot of times are two different things when it comes to that type of
Mhm.
situation. We was an environment
Mhm.
I used to hear all the time certain things, and I see them out in the streets, and I'm like, okay, what, you know, and it'd be something totally different. But when they get around their girls, they have this false bravado around their girls, like this
Mhm.
hard talk, and
Mhm.
it'd be something else in their personal life. So there's a lot of that. So yeah, but I understand how it's problematic in viewing that or hearing that from a man. But like I think because of society and like you say, grandmother passing on generation to generation because of the way society
Mhm.
used to view women. So it is
Mhm.
definitely ingrained, I think.
Yeah.
So, so let's take this video and we're going to talk about what women want from men. What it seems like this is a man's and it's kind of comical. It's not it's made light of it, but how men
Okay.
hear with what women want from men or what kind of men they want.
Women be out here creating super niggas in their mind. They don't even be looking at the niggas right in front of them. That's the difference between men and women. We see who here.
Right.
Women out here think it's a unicorn nigga with long dick and a lot of money and a weekend house, and this nigga write poetry and he draw and he a thug and he can fight and lift weights and don't eat pork. You crazy? You gonna meet this nigga with a lace front on? Okay, alright, I'm tripping though.
What he said, man?
Man, that nigga, they want that nigga to have everything.
Facts. Funny facts, but facts.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of what black men have to
Yeah.
like. The way I like to put it is that we can't beat the image you have of us in their head. We can't,
Yeah.
so it's we have some odds to go against when it comes to dealing with women. Um, and I think a majority of men are not going to be able to equate to that. So that's why a lot of men feel inferior, insecure, and all this other stuff. Um, because of that.
Yeah. It's like what I talked about last week.
Hmm.
Women want 10s.
And won't settle for nothing else.
And we won't take the 5 or the 7 or the 9. If we want a 10, we go for the 10. At least those of us that have ourselves together, because we've already talked about the women with the low self-esteem that will take anybody. But for the women that has themselves together emotionally, and mentally and physically, and we know we have good qualities to bring to the table,
Mm.
it's a 10. We don't want nothing but that 10.
I'm gonna take the physical away because you don't have to be physically together. I mean, um, if they have themselves together financially, where they feel they don't need, a man has to have as much as them. They're equating themselves on a man's scale. Like, y'all look at men for, oh, he has a certain type of job, he has an education, he has money. That's how women starting to look at it now.
Mm-hmm.
Physical be damned. I've heard women that are not physically anywhere where they need to be, and still, they want that 10 dude.
I've seen that on social media where they show the picture of the girl that's obese and her hair is all over the place. And she's
Well,
like,
no,
if you don't got this, you can't talk to me.
well,
But I think
hair and
a
everything.
lot of women, I'm not talking about Instagram physically attractive,
Mhm.
but I'm talking attractive.
Okay, so I deal with women. I'm gonna tell you this: when I moved to Georgia in '93. Moved back to New
Okay.
Orleans, and that's when I met you and everything during that whole period of time. But when I moved back in 2000, it was a whole different ball game. It's like back in people like women understood that, you know what? I am, I'm big, so I'm not gonna have this attitude like you gotta, you gotta do this, that, you gotta be all this and whatever. I understood who I was. I had a mirror, and I looked at the mirror and I understood my place. Just like men have to understand their place on the hierarchy, right? Women understood that back in the early 90s. I came back in 2000, was like, okay, women had attitudes out this world. I'm like, where the hell did this shit come from? It's like, no, I'm dead ass serious. Where did this come from? It's like, okay, and I'm not saying, everybody. I feel every woman has something about it makes them beautiful, that makes them appealing, right? But
Mm.
if you are physically challenged, right, you cannot be out here acting like I'm not physically challenged. Like I ain't got one leg shorter than the other, and and I'm walking like this. You can't act like, okay, well, you're not good enough because you don't make a certain amount of money. No, you need to be looking for more of a. You need to be able to distinguish what you bring physically from a physical aspect, and curb your expectations.
Kinda.
I'm just saying. I'm being. I mean, I was saying a nice way to say that. You can't expect. You know, just like men, we know we can't get filet mignon if we got McDonald money. We understand. That.
We kind of like, because again, physical attractiveness, you don't have to look like an Instagram model.
Well,
Like you can like, so last week I talked about Lizzo. Do you see some of the guys that be in Lizzo DMs? Like some of the guys on social media, like athletes, rappers, be talking about how they in her DMs. So kind of, because physical attractiveness is not necessarily.
But Lizzo is we're not talking about women that got millions of dollars and millions of followers. We're not talking about these women. I mean, that's not a fair assessment of what we're talking about. We're talking about
I
average.
think it is, because I think you underestimate your men.
No,
Because you have to think about your men that are physically attractive. They are the 10.
Mhm.
And here's this woman that maybe she's overweight, but she's not sloppy. So she's sexy.
Okay.
And they pull.
Okay.
So that's why you got that attitude of.
Let me be very specific, right? A man that's physically attractive but is broke as shit is not a 10. It's not a 10. I mean, we're going to take points away from certain things. So I mean, if a woman obese can get a dude that's physically fit, whatever, but he not out there working, ain't making no money, ain't grinding, whatever, don't have that. He has 2 of the 4 P's, right?
But he
Not
is.
level.
And that's the thing. So
Yeah.
I like right now, as we're having this conversation, I am picturing women that I can name
Mhm.
that are obese,
Mhm.
that is pulling the guy that is a 10 in the face, a
Mhm.
10 in the body,
Mhm.
and also has money.
Okay.
And has been proposed to.
Okay.
Like one in particular, 3 times.
Okay.
I'm thinking about another one that just got divorced, but is pulling these dudes. Like she just pulled. Well, I don't want to give this label because then I'm gonna be saying I'm gonna be telling business.
Why did
But
she
pulling somebody that is a public figure, political person.
Why didn't she take why didn't she accept it then?
The rings.
Yeah, why did she accept it? No, why did she?
Because of the problem that we have where we say we keep wanting more.
Exactly. Okay, so that is the problem. That is the problem. Not being
So
satisfied.
she's looking for perfection. So she's like, no, that's not good enough. But we keep
That's part of
going.
the problem. That's part of the problem. Like I said,
Yeah.
not assessment of where you're at. That is exactly what I was explaining. I mean, this is what you got. Be happy. Be happy and go with it. But that's
Well,
the problem.
at the start of this conversation, I laughed and I said, yeah, that's the problem.
Okay. So we just went all the way around the world to get back to, yeah, that's the problem. Okay.
Right. But that I think we went all around the world, but it pointed out a little bit more of the complexity of it, that it's because they are pulling. Like the obese woman is pulling.
Mhm.
The 7 is pulling, the 6 is pulling,
But like
and that's why they have their problem of wanting to go up and up and up.
so I'm gonna say this about that, right? Men are willing to get away from, as you call it, Instagram models if she has a better personality and she's nicer. We look at more than
Mhm.
body, so that would speak to that, right? But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, if you have a bad personality and you have act like you're more than you are, that's unattractive. If you act like
Right.
I'm beneath you, that's unattractive. When
Mhm.
like I'm looking at you and we're equal. Put it this way, we're equal.
Mhm.
We're equal.
Yeah.
But you gonna
But
act.
they give that bad attitude to the guys that they're not interested in. So all the women who images are floating in my head right now, they are good quality women.
Mhm,
So that is why they're pulling. They
mhm,
are good quality women, and they are women that cater, and they are women that once they are with the person that they want to be with, they bend over backwards. But if you aren't that guy, if you're not that 10,
mhm.
they are also the women that's going to give you attitude.
But I think you're talking about the higher echelon of those type of women. I'm talking because you went from Lizzo and you went to the women and they probably got all their shit together. So I'm talking about the average
Mhm.
woman. That's not the average woman. You're still not talking about the average woman.
You
Uh,
always say that to me. That when I'm talking about women, I'm never talking about
yeah,
that.
I'm saying we're talking about average women. We're talking okay. You're talking about let's say 10-15% women, right? We're talking about
I'm
80.
talking about people like me.
No, you're not average. You're a damn doctor. Went to Ivy League, went to white colleges. You graduated from white college. Come on now. You're not average. You're not average. You might think you're average. You're not average. You're not average.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that.
You're not average. No, you're not average. We're talking about the woman. We're talking about our customers back in the day, right? We used to come through the store. That's what we're talking about. You know what the hell average is. You know what average is. Stop doing that. You know exactly what I'm talking
I
about.
never thought of them as average, though. I
Well,
thought of them as like below average.
okay, so in the environment we in, think about who gets championed as far as women. Is
Mhm.
is it women of your character, whatever, your credentials, or women at that level? The loud, the whatever.
No, it's women at my level.
Really?
You know what? This might be a thing with me because my therapist said that to
Really?
me.
Really? You have a grandiose idea of women, I think. You have a
Yeah, he said
uh,
yeah, he said that to me too,
yeah.
that I see me and other women like me as average, and that's not correct. And I was like, I don't think so. I'm pretty.
A lot. This is a problem with a lot of educated women because they only see what's in their circle. They don't see down. They only see around them basically, or up, or what's around them. That's
Yeah.
becomes a norm, and that's I think that's another reason why I was explaining it happens because of women do that.
Mhm.
So yeah, y'all don't
Yeah.
know about the other stuff because it's below y'all. Y'all don't see it. It's not on y'all plane. So y'all don't ever get to call that out. So yeah.
Yeah. And well, we see what, yeah, we think the world looks like what we see.
Mhm.
And I'm not, I mean, when you when you talked about the women back in the day that we worked with, I'm not hanging in that circle.
Exactly. But you saw that majority of people came through there was on that caliber, right? Majority of women came through there
Yeah,
on that caliber. This majority of
yeah.
women, we're talking about let's say 70. I'm not even gonna say 80. Let's say 70. I'll give them 10 more percent. Let's say
Mhm.
70% of women are on that level. You know, I don't have it pulled up because I have a chart. I have an actual chart. Now, dude, when we start, because next week we're going to talk about nature with black women. So we'll talk about. We're going to put a pin in this. We're going to come back and we're going to go over figures and numbers on that. So
Okay. All
let's
right.
let's move on. So let's go. How the next thing I want to talk about because we're going to do a little historical thing. How black men got the bad rap because black
Okay.
have been under attack for a long time, and we're talking about their image and why we have. Um, I have a It's about a 2-minute clip.
Okay.
But this is from 1950. I showed it on my other podcast, and my co-host was blown away. Like, what the hell? It's a clip, and it's the first motion picture that was played in the White House, basically.
Okay.
So 1915, Birth of a Nation. Okay, so they had quite a few things going on in there, which was
What is this foolishness?
so no, that was actually once again, this is how black men got the bad rap. We saw eating the chicken, the stereotype of chicken, eating chicken, whatever. We saw drink alcoholics. We saw black men want white women, right? That's the whole thing. We saw that. This is the start of the image of black men, how they damage the image. They're also in that movie, and it didn't show this, but it was where a black man ended up raping a white woman. So we had that, and then this is what actually revamped the KKK, and that's how they came back to power. After that, came that movie was showed in the White House. So this is how propaganda happens.
Yeah, but this was an actual film
Yes, I can feel Birth of a Nation.
that was shown to President Wilson.
Yep. Look it
And
up.
this was supposed to be what? Like a fictitious documentary, some kind of fiction movie? What was that?
Well, they were doing it as some historical thing. What happened? This is what happened if we give black men, power to come and do this. So that's how they started having policies against black men and keeping us out of certain things because they feared this stuff. It's basically fear mongering and propaganda.
Yeah, like I cannot. Like were those white men in blackface?
Blackface. Yes, it was white men and black. A lot of them was.
This
A lot of
is
them was.
crazy.
Yeah. But see, this is something people don't understand. You don't understand how did black men get all this stuff. And we actually play into it now because we believe generation after generation that this was part of us.
That we just up in the White House with our feet on the table with no shoes on.
shiftless Negroes. That's just no good, uncouth.
Uncool.
Hmm.
Uncivilized, don't know how to act.
Yes.
So we have to be restrained. Otherwise, we just act out of order and get out of control.
Hmm.
And here we go to the prison system where, it's just lock them up. Lock them up, throw away the key because they uncivilized and out of control.
So that was the beginning. So let's fast forward to late 70s, late 70s, with all these daytime talk shows. You remember those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All those and all that. Black men were always being put on Front Street as being no good, and
Mm-hmm.
black women picked up the mantle with the bad imagery of black men, and it stuck to where our kids picked up because if you give enough, we take on information like
Yeah.
bad stuff in, bad stuff out. So black boys seeing certain things, women, girls seeing certain things. That's how we
Mm-hmm.
programmed it. Now we come to the point we have a lot of men that exhibit certain things based on what we saw back in the 70s and early 80s. And
Mm-hmm.
then we get the crack epidemic. We know what happened from that.
Yeah.
So that was the bad rap that black men got, and how we allowed ourselves to be programmed and played a part in our own demise of our.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Black men definitely have something to do with it. We're not blameless in this, but it's part of a bigger system, bigger programming or systematically
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed that film, I see.
Huh?
I see you enjoyed that film.
I'm disturbed. I'm disturbed. So first of all, I intentionally don't watch stuff like that because it makes me angry.
But this is history. This is history. You have to know. The thing is, and this is what I want to focus on. We have to know the whole truth in order to
Yeah.
change our ways. In order to change how we treat each other, in order to change how we interact and how we go on into the future. We have to understand the whole
Yeah.
truth.
We do. I agree. We definitely do. So I read a lot of stuff about it, but I don't watch a lot of stuff about it because watching it just intensifies some emotions that I have a hard time with.
But think about it. That's
But yeah.
that's therapy, right? First step of therapy is actually pointing out what it is. Being honest, being 100% honest, so you can come to it and look for a way to heal from it.
Right. And so I agree because at the start of things, at the start of a lot of things becoming desegregated, the black man was the target, and the black man has been the target for a very long time. Like we started this podcast by talking about black men not getting the opportunity to advance themselves, while black women got the opportunity to advance themselves, and that was also by design. It's by design that black women now out educate black men. That was done on purpose. So.
Also, why we have the preschool to prison pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's something people need to understand. When you hear black women talking about black men, a lot of times it's to beat on their chest. Well, we got it. Y'all need to get it's. And I'm gonna say
no, it's different.
Next week. I'm gonna say this too. When we talk about the black women, we'll reiterate this. But I'm just gonna put it out here, and you can think about it through the week, whatever. But black women have became the white men of our community.
Of our community, black women have become
the
white men
of our community. And we're gonna talk about next week. That's gonna be a second thing. I'm gonna have follow up.
Mm,
You got
I
something?
don't know. I think black women have become white women because I think the leader of their culture
Okay.
is
Right.
women, not men.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about next week. Another pin. We're gonna put a pin in that one. We're gonna
Okay.
do that too. All right, so let's move on to what men want. Let's think about men. Let's see what men want. And I got
Okay.
a couple of videos about that.
Okay. I'm gonna take a drink after watching that segment.
Yeah, take a drink. Go ahead, cleanse your palate. Come on, switch around. You know, sniff it. Get rid of that bad taste. Okay, what men want? Okay, you want me to play it again? Because that was kind of fast.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and what I'll do next week, and because like I said, we can't talk
Mm-hmm.
about black men without black women and vice versa. So I'm gonna take clips of that. I'm gonna freeze it, I'm gonna play it, whatever, because we're gonna talk about
Okay.
what men want from women. What
Mhm.
should be focused on women in order to get men. By knowing what men want, that's half the battle. You know.
Mhm.
So, oh, so this is right here. Women that aspire to be married. This is a married couple, and the man is talking about what he wants.
Mhm.
From a married man's
For a
standpoint.
lot of men, that's difficult for them to admit is that we want to be desired just as well as women. We want to be looked at. And when my wife recognized, and that don't necessarily mean in a sexual way, I have the desire to want to be around me for me in my world and be engaged in what I got going on, no matter how big or small or insignificant it might be. And then too, on that other aspect too, hey, I like knowing that my wife want to get it in too.
That's right.
So
I love them as a couple.
So I
Yeah.
mean, it's something that you don't hear men usually speak about. The fact that
Mhm.
want that woman to be there for them, that they know for sure. It falls under intimacy. That's where
Yeah.
intimacy is,
Yep.
um, and we never hear that when it comes to men. Speak about
Yeah. 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 We don't hear about it. We don't hear enough men talk about it either. Like I hear you be vocal about it,
Mhm.
but enough men aren't vocal about it. And then the ones who are vocal about it are using it to be gamey.
Well, I think part of the reason is that the media only depicts women a certain light, they depict men in another light because of
Mhm.
whatever. So men are saying it.
Mhm.
There's a ton of men on YouTube. You go to YouTube is more a male dominated platform. Women, if you want to know anything about men, understand,
Mhm.
go to YouTube and look up just different men, and get to understand men.
Mhm.
I've said this several times is that men understand women better than black women better than black women understand men. And that's because of the
Mhm.
dynamics of our community.
Yeah.
Um, 80%, 70+%, single mother rate. So they get to see women up close and work with women via their
Mhm.
mother throughout their whole
Right.
life versus, not seeing their fathers and seeing men that they have to be around and understand the men. So
Mhm.
that's part of that reason why that happens. But yeah, like I said, go to YouTube and look up different male content. Uh,
Okay.
support it because the thing is, we've been seeing ever since, like I said, '70s, late '70s. We've been seeing women dominated content, black women dominated content. Only focus on black women. So your
Mhm.
information has been in an echo chamber. We've only been getting one side stories. now, we're starting to see a little bit men thing here and there, but what's been happening really now that they won't focus on black men
Mhm.
is that they start talking about the LGBTQ, right? They start
Mhm.
and it's not the same because women don't want to deal with the men. They want to be their besties.
Mhm.
They want them to be friends, whatever. But
Mhm.
if you want a relationship, marriage, whatever, you have to look at this from a logical standpoint. You need to know who you're going to be with, who you're dealing with.
Mhm.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, let's see. Next thing, how men should be treated. And I think this is it's comical too. This is another little comical. So we're gonna get rid of that little bad taste with a little comedy. Okay, how men should be
David. David.
What?
Are you going to take the trash out or what?
God damn.
The brother was living his best life in his head. He was like he was being appreciated. He
Yeah.
appreciated. Hey, he had
Yeah.
food. Look, I provide the food. I provide the lights running.
Mhm.
Running water. We got all this stuff. He just wanted some
Right.
appreciation. All to be killed. His dreams just killed. Reality. Damn reality. Okay. Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Another kind of one. So this is more or less how men I think this how men like when women don't treat men a certain way, how how they think they want to react to a woman. We can't do it,
Mhm.
but this how we would like to react to women when we don't get treated right in our relationship.
When she ain't give you no action last night.
You all good? I fucking love you, G. I'm gonna get up with you, alright? Keep your head up.
Hey, you won't treat the brother right,
Like, so you the homeboy now.
You the homeboy. Yeah, you the homeboy. That's what you the homeboy now. And you ain't treat me right. I ain't getting no sex. You want to act bad? Okay. Yeah, that's what the women that want to get in a relationship want let the sex go. Don't want to use sex as a weapon. Okay, you one of the bros now. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what this. I don't remember. Men really don't need. Oh, you know what? This is about men not needing to act more than they are.
Mhm.
I guess I'm not gonna say this is I'm not gonna say this is the average man, but this is I think where men should aspire to.
See, the thing about it, the man never, oh, this is profound. Thank you, Lord, for giving me that. The man never tries to be the man because he is the man. The dude that tries to be the man validates that he's not him because you can't try to be who you already are. So all the way through youth, high school, I was always that dude. So I always knew no matter what position it was, I'm still going to be that dude because I got the gift and I got the work ethic and I got the discipline.
Mhm.
So
Agreed.
I think that's
Yep.
where
Agreed.
because we try too hard to garner or get brownie points from women or be on women's scale
Mhm.
radar, and we make ourselves look foolish in doing that.
Mhm.
When we could just be ourselves and focus on yourself, bettering yourself, being a better person,
Mhm.
and you build it.
Yep. You just focus on being a better person today than you was yesterday,
Hmm.
and everything should flow naturally.
Hey,
Everything should flow naturally. The intimacy should flow naturally. The sex should flow naturally.
I mean, and you can't account for the other end of that, the other person. You can't account for it because they might have some kind of
Yeah.
traumas. They might,
Yeah.
you can't account for
So
it. But you
we're
get
talking about two healthy-minded
a
people
healthy
coming
minded people. Yeah,
together.
two healthy minded
Hmm.
people. It should happen. It should be
Yep.
no problems. As long as
Yeah.
you focus on yourself, you make yourself the best person you can possibly be. Uh,
Yep.
you and women will gravitate to you. I mean, I can.
Yeah. So it's like the thing about, the movement of men over the last couple of years saying that they want women to submit.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many of my social media posts you follow, but I constantly say, if you're that dude,
Mhm.
she submits. Like, you don't have to force or pressure or coerce.
Mhm.
She submits to the guy that walks through the door with the good leadership skills, the good problem solving skills. If she feels safe
Mhm.
and like she can be at ease because she know he's going to take care of things, she submits.
Mhm.
It just happens naturally.
Okay.
But we again are talking about two healthy people.
And there you go. We're talking about healthy minded people. So that's not going to be everybody walking around, and you can't tell until you get into the majority of times whether is healthy minded or not. And that's
Right.
the problem. And we're going to talk about that next week. We talk about women because this is where this is. And I'm gonna be 100% honest, right? This one, yeah, I could talk about the F boys or whatever, but we
Mhm.
all talk about them. So I'm trying to go the other way and talk about what don't usually get talked about. So
Right.
next week is gonna be a whole different topic because the thing is, you have a base level, and most women have base level thing of women being average, women being the good, and on the pedestal, which you call. We're going to talk about the other women that are more average that people don't really focus on. They be like, "Oh, that's just that person." That's just, but we've seen it, and I'm gonna have videos of that. You see it on social media,
Okay.
a lot of stuff going on that men see and they call it out, but people don't believe it. They don't believe men when they say this exists. So it's
Yeah.
it's gonna be
I might need some fine tuning in that area. Because in my world, I'm like, most women are great.
yeah. Awesome. Girl power, black girl magic, yay! And that's what I see. And that's what I say. I had to come to the realization that I was always of a mind that women see this. They know. And I had to every day I had to talk to women and be like, you know what, that's crazy. Like you don't see. And if they see it right, they excuse it as like, okay, she's going through something. They'll excuse these type of women because they're a woman. You emotional. You're going to give them mercy, grace, or whatever, because she has to be going through something. Women are just not this person. So I mean, that's what usually happens. And it becomes a confirmation bias thing. It's like or bias.
Mhm.
I would say not confirmation, but bias towards a woman because you are a woman.
Mhm.
You don't want to see.
Or confirmation bias, like you said, because I now see what I believe exists in this
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
So that's all I see. And
all
I ignore anything that challenges what I don't think is true.
So that
Yeah.
I think that's why it's important. And women often say, and we can bring up Kevin Samuels, how women, feel he's bashing women, but if you're pointing at something that actually exists and bringing light to it, and we need to know about all this. Like I said, total honesty, we need to see the full spectrum that we got going on, so we can have some self-reflection
Mhm.
and we can change.
No, I never. So I want to say that because
Okay.
people tend to think that I'm a KS basher, which I'm not.
Okay.
I've repeatedly said, but I don't know this part gets missed.
Mm.
I've repeatedly said I don't have a problem with his content.
Mm.
As a woman that is surrounded by HBMs,
Mm.
what he is saying is accurate, not 100% accurate. But what he's saying has enough truth to it where you can start to adjust your life by it.
Mhm.
I hated his delivery though. I hated the delivery. And I get that people say, well, it doesn't matter how you deliver information if it's true.
Mm.
No, it matters because if you want people to hear you, You have to say things softer and you have to say it gentler. That I'm just being honest stuff doesn't work for most people.
No, it don't work.
They don't hear it.
It don't work for black men. It worked for black women, but it don't work for black men.
No, it don't work for black women either. Because if I walk out here and I give somebody the brutal, honest truth, despite my credentials, they're not going to hear it, and they're probably not going to see me again, and they're probably not going to get hired for the job again.
You're talking professional. I'm talking about as far as when you're interacting with people, not on a professional level, personal level. They will respect you more than they respect the black man for saying what's on his mind and the brutal, honest truth. What I'm trying to say.
I know you said that what black women can say the same thing that black men say, and they won't get any slack. But I don't think that that's entirely true, because I like Keita Rose, who I don't think she delivers things in the way that KS delivers things, but she delivers things kind of in a straightforward manner, and they go in and they go off on her. And I follow a number of, like, quote unquote, well, I'm going to say they life coaches, because I feel like that's what they're doing. They don't call themselves that, though. And women get a lot of that slack too. So I don't think it's different. I think in terms of KS, he was just an ass. Like, all the cursing and the yelling and the hanging up on folks, it's an overreaction, not a reaction.
And I agree. A lot of that was for. So since we talked about it, okay, I think we gravitate to just whatever. Everything has to be to the max. So I think that was purposely done to garner a certain attention. Because had he been nice, we would know who the man was. He wouldn't have been as impactful had he been nice.
Agreed.
So see how it plays? It's like, well, I don't like it, but he wouldn't have been as impactful.
Agreed.
And this took, and I said this too, and I'm gonna say this. No, I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna see what you think about this. The only reason we're talking about men in the light we're talking about men, in a favorable light, and women are actually listening. We had to have an act of God, which was COVID. We had to see a man die on live, and call out for his mother.
Yeah.
And we had to have chaos to point out these things that have been going on forever.
So that I will say that even though I don't like him, we are a culture of people that is very much into anything that looks similar to reality TV. If it is highly theatrical and dramatic, we tune in. So a lot of people tuned in, even though they didn't like him, even though there was a lot of disdain for him and people loathed him, people tuned in to watch. I do think from that, it got a discussion going where men who could speak at a lower tone and who could communicate in a pro-social manner was able to get through to a lot of women and say, enough is enough. We're tired.
Yeah. And I think even his tone and everything was a reflection of how men. It was a reflection of how men are tired of what's been going on since the 70s. Right? It's a reflection of, like, I'm a 70s baby. So, all my life I've seen a certain thing and I knew it existed. Like, I felt it, but I could not articulate it. I couldn't articulate what I felt. The feeling of worthlessness, if outside of whatever any woman said about me, the feeling of worthlessness. I can articulate that to anybody, but it was heavy on me. So I think part of his delivery, a lot of that was that going through this time frame, of hearing something constantly over and over and over again and having to fight against the machine that was actually putting out. I try very hard to monitor the way I speak to people, to what I do, or how I talk, what I talk about. Really, I try very hard. Will I always be this way? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna get too much after dealing with people for so long. And, because as you get older, you start to loosen up. Really, you start to get real loose at the mouth. Say whatever the hell on your mind and don't care. So
I've seen you get.
you seen,
I've seen you have some of those frustrating moments. My favorite phrase is where you yelled out on one of your podcasts when we were talking about women and the trauma that they've endured and how they then project that trauma on the men, and you screamed out, "Get some fucking help!"
Oh, I mean, yeah, yeah. But I mean, I try to reel myself back in. What I was saying, I don't be out there just totally loose, But yeah. And that's what needs to happen because we are not only black men, grown black men are hurting because of this, because it permeates throughout whatever people view us. It just everybody views us a certain way because of black women have been doing this for so long. We go from white women lying on us and doing certain things. We end up dying behind black women the panel and just saying whatever about us and having us in a bad light. So it affects us. And not only grown men, like I said, but it affects little boys that's coming up hearing this. And now you've damaged another generation of men.
Yeah.
And then you ain't about them on the back end. They ain't shit on the back end. So, it is frustrating dealing with that. Seeing the problem and yelling into a wind chamber, right? Seeing the problem saying something and nobody's listening.
Right.
So, I understand the frustration.
Yeah. But I'm not sure how far we're going in the podcast today, but I want to reiterate what I feel like I want to reiterate this after every episode, which is Black women have gone through a lot of struggles that are unimaginable to Black men. Black men have gone through a lot of struggles that are unimaginable to Black women. And we have to get away from talking about the problem, talking about what we both went through, and move towards talking about a solution because we get trapped in the problem place. Well, I went through this, da 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 da. And Black men, and we went through this, da 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 da.
I'm gonna tell you the problem with you saying that is that the focus has been on Black women for 50 years. Right?
Kinda, sorta.
No, no, not kind of sort. It has. Y'all had the voice. I mean, everybody will stick a microphone in a Black woman's face because emotional. Y'all draw something out. Like Black women are powerful. They're powerful speakers. They're powerful. They can give you, and you will feel what they got going on. So y'all are good for media. Black women are good. Y'all garner attention. So,
but I don't think that's the way that it's been for decades. I think that's the way it's been for a decade.
No, we're talking about the last 40 plus years. We're talking about almost 50 years.
I don't think so. I think I have to disagree with that because I think that what happened for decades before is that Black women use their platform to entirely talk about Black men. And in that, they didn't voice their struggle. So a lot of our female civil rights activists didn't really get out here and talk about, but this is what I'm going through as a Black woman. They spoke about the Black man and rallying behind the Black man. The Black man is being murdered by the police. The Black man has been put in prison unfairly. The Black men have a high wrongful conviction rate. This is what was done to the Black man. And I think in the last decade was when a lot of Black women turned around and started going, F what they went through. Here's what I was going through. So while they was locking him up, white police officers was pulling me over and raping me. I think that was the direction that it went in.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, the reason I said what I said, right? We're talking about the feminist movement. When that happened, right? What was black men fighting for pre-feminist feminist?
You went out. So what was the question?
What were black men fighting for pre-feminist movement?
What were black men fighting for during
Fighting-
feminism?
Yeah, pre-feminist. No, pre-feminist. Before feminism movement.
Before feminism.
Yeah, before feminism. Early 60s.
I think it was for the, I don't know, you tell me, other than like
The black
them
family.
fighting for their rights.
The black family. Not black men.
Yeah.
It wasn't just black men. It was about black men. It was about the family structure. It's about fighting for us to do exactly, what everybody else does in the community. It wasn't black men. Was born out of that civil rights movement was for black women also.
Mhm.
Feminist movement came about and say, "Oh, look what we're doing for black women too. Black women, come on, we can do it for you too." That was part of the civil rights movement. They piggybacked off the civil rights movement. Now, what
Well, I don't know. I don't know, Willie. I could disagree.
go back.
There's room for me to disagree with this.
But I'm just saying, you can disagree, but I'm just saying, just look it up.
When I look at it, I don't necessarily see it as black men fighting for the black family. I saw the benefit of the black family as an extension of what they were fighting for. Like, like when my great grandfather, was the president of the NAACP, I think the benefit of his work was the black family, and what he could establish for the black family. But what I see it as is it was more so for the rights of the black man. And then out of that meant that his wife and his children could benefit from those freedoms that came from him fighting for him. So he did a lot of work in terms of wanting to help black people earn the right to vote. But it wasn't necessarily black people. It was black men. We need to vote because our vote is what affects our household and affect our children.
Okay, so what year are you talking about?
Shit, I don't know. I would have to go read.
Okay. So the thing is, okay, so yes. Yeah, what you're saying is correct. By default, because we were talking about black men, it went down through the family structure because we were 80% married back then, right? We were 80, so it did follow that. We're talking about black family, which was man, woman, and child. At some point, black family is no longer man, woman, and child. At some point, it's just woman and child. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. After the feminist movement, woman and child.
No, see that part I agree with though. I do agree that when the feminist era came in, we're now starting to move in a very wrong direction. We were starting to move in a very wrong direction. But I don't think it was the feminist movement that broke up the black family. I think at that point, the black family had already shattered. And what white women did was say, okay, so you now alone with your children. You see how that dude left? He ain't shit. So come over here with us. And then we fell for it.
So we're talking about, and what you talk about is correct. So I'm gonna just add context to that, right? They changed the policy, which was to get help. All us was broke. I've said this before. All us was we was broke back in the early 60s. All us was struggling. Black men, black women, whole family. So change policy. Hey, we're gonna help black women and children, housing, food stamps, welfare, right? But you can't have a black man. So they changed the policy. Then on the back end, like what you were saying, this white family said, "Hey, look at them. They ain't doing nothing for you anyway. Come on over here, you get some stuff. You gonna be like us. You're gonna be able to have the same thing we have. We're fighting for rights to be just like men. Which black men didn't have that power. White men have power. So they looked at black men the same as the patriarchy, which people talk about today, which is utter bullshit. There's no patriarchy. Black men have never been a part of a patriarchy. Never. We've never had power. So, like I said, and we're gonna talk about this. We get a lot into the women part of it. We'll talk about it next week too. But yeah, it's what I started off saying was that now black men feel like they have that voice. So
Mhm.
to say that, well, we can't talk about your pain now because we just talk about solutions, right? It kind of
Mhm.
glosses over uh what black men need to get out. I
Mhm.
think this is a period of black men need to get out what they need to get out in order
Mhm.
to heal. Because you have to talk about it. You have to be able to express issues in order to heal.
Mhm.
And also for me, because I've ever since I've been alive, black men been screaming at the police, have been unfairly targeted,
Mhm.
and what's been is that, oh, you must have been doing something. You caused that problem. You
Mhm.
know, women have been lying on us,
Mhm.
right? We s-
Mhm.
every year we see black brothers coming out of jail being
Mhm.
exonerated
Mhm.
for DNA evidence, for whatever, serving
Mhm.
30, 40, 50 years,
Mhm.
and been yelling that they've been lied on. So we're
Yeah.
seeing the truth coming out. So I think that's the importance of saying what's going on from a black man's standpoint.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right,
I.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
speak for myself, right? I can't speak for no other guy. I'm gonna speak for myself. Um, for me saying all the stuff I'm saying, not to point at black women wrong or bad because of this, because we're talking about policy. We talk about systematically stuff that's been done to us.
Mhm.
But in order to do that, we have to make the full picture and already know the woman's story.
Right.
Um,
Right.
fully.
No, and I'm not saying that there is not room
Mhm.
for black men to be angry, because I do think at some point black women did lose their way. I don't think it's in the way that it's being painted, but I do think at some point we lost our way.
Mhm.
But I think through a lot of that struggle, there were black women who was out there rallying.
Oh no, they were, they
we
were.
were we were primarily the people that was out there rallying. When we look at our civil rights organizations, they have primarily been women.
Oh,
When we're talking about hitting the streets and doing the protests, it is primarily black women that are out there. It is primarily us that is in the government
mhm.
trying to help change policy. So I don't, I think we let black men down, but not in the intensity of the picture that is being painted today, is how I'll say it. Because even though policy changed and said in order to get welfare and to get um any form of public assistance, and in order to get any form of social security, you gotta kick that black man out your house. A lot of them women just chose not to get married and they lied. That man was still in the house.
But that
I
happened.
even see it now when I do assessments for the government. You know how many women walk in that office and say, I know he ain't supposed to be there, but Dr. Williams, he's there. And I'm telling on myself right now, but I'm like, okay, I ain't hear that.
Okay,
And we keep it going.
but even in that, right? What gets believed? The lie. What gets believed is the lie that black men are leaving. Black men are doing this on their own accord, right? Even if it don't happen, the lie still stands. And that's the problem,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, we have proof now. CDC studies. We have CDC studies that black men are more involved in their children's lives than any other race.
Mhm.
We have that, so we can combat
Mhm.
that now. But the lie still stands, and people hold to that lie. Like that trope is very ingrained in black men's
Mhm.
minds.
Yeah.
So that's why I think men being vocal, like you said, they're very vocal, they're very whatever over the last couple years. Because now, hey, y'all listen to us. Okay, we're gonna yell it from the highest mountain because you need to understand stuff that been
Mhm.
said for so long has been lied. Think about
I agree.
you go to jail, right? Think about you going to jail knowing that somebody lied on you the whole time. Think how angry you'll be.
Yeah.
Think how jaded you. So
Yeah.
that's the period we at now. So
Mhm.
it's gonna change. It's not gonna be here forever, but I think we have to get to a point where you have to be open to understand experiences as women, not you,
Yeah.
Black women.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of room for us to sit down and try to understand the Black man's pain outside of our pain.
Mhm.
I think the problem with the system right now, this system has always been broken when it comes to our culture.
Mhm.
I think the problem with the system is it at one point targeted Black men, and it targeted Black men for a very long time. And there was a lot of propaganda geared towards Black men. But I think it's in terms of the system, not in terms of us as a culture. Because if you ask me this question in terms of us as a culture, I have a completely different answer.
Yeah.
But
No.
in terms of the system has now switched it. And now the target has become Black women. And then there's a lot of propaganda put out there on social media that targets Black women and makes us the villain. So it's flipped from men have been the villain to we now live in the new millennium and Black women are now the targets. And now we're going to tell a lot of lies on them. And
Okay.
I think that is where.
Remember the lies next week because I need to hear these lies. I need to hear the lies.
One of them is the one that you just spoke about.
What?
The concept that Black women actually put men out the house just so they can get public assistance. That didn't happen. Yes, the policy said that,
but
that's not what happened.
Okay, I'm not saying all Black women. I'm saying it happened because policy changed. When you have feed your kids or put this nigga out, right? When you have that going on, this you cannot feed him. There's a choice to be made. I'm not saying
the vast majority just simply lied, though, Willie.
Okay, but you know
he's gone. He's not there. He's gone. But he was there.
I know, but I have a video for that also because I have a video from 1969 and because I did this already. The whole talking about that because a woman said she debunked the fact that the welfare system is part of the problem that broke the Black family. So, but yeah, I agree. A lot of them lied. A lot of women lied. But what I'm saying is that when you put somebody in a bad place, because they was going back checking people, white people's checking. So if white people came to your house to check, and you want to call them, you had a choice to make. I'm not saying it's a Black woman's fault. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it was a choice that needed to be made. And some women lied and said they were gone, which further made it seem like the men walked away. But men were
I think the dynamics during that time is what people confuse as the Black woman put the Black man out. Because during this time, what was also happening simultaneously was the breakdown of the Black family, where Black men and Black women were arguing quite a bit, and that conflict and that odds in their household. So it came down to, we have a man in this house that's unhappy because he's not working, because the system has designed it where we've shut down all the jobs that they're capable of doing so that they can't work. And you have a Black woman in this house that's also unhappy. And anytime you put two people together that's unhappy, they're now trying to fight each other. And so with that, you now have women putting men out the homes because they're unhappy, and men leaving the homes because they're unhappy. But because it happened simultaneously, people believe, oh, this is because he was put out the home by Black women because of state policy and government policy. But it didn't.
But let's also add that Vietnam War happened also. So you have men coming back over here with Jews, and they had kids. That's the reason they went to the military. So they go. I can't remember the number. I think it's like 300,000 men went over there, and they didn't come back. Right, a lot of them didn't come back. Even if they came back
No,
home.
that was a real thing. So men coming back with what they call combat fatigue back then, which was really what we know as PTSD today. And now you got trauma hallucinations and trauma delusions, and you have no access to mental health care in the way that it was being provided in white communities. And what do you have to pacify those symptoms other than alcohol and heroin and other types of drugs? So it definitely was a lot of devastation that was done to the Black family unit as a whole, and a lot of things kind of pouring in and happening at the same time that was making the household unstable. But I stand 10 toes down when I say Black women made that effort to stand by Black men, and we didn't put them out over those damn food stamps.
So I'm not saying. So this is what I think I'm saying. Well, we gonna give you these damn $60 food because it's only $60-$90. It wasn't much.
It wasn't
$90 food stamps. If you put that man, like, okay, you gotta go. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is over time, policy. Also, it wasn't like they had a choice. These white people was coming in because they wanted the black.
No, they wanted. They wanted that. The system was being designed to break up the Black family unit. The system has always been designed to break up the Black family unit, like since slavery. It was always designed to separate men from women and women from children. It's always been designed that way. So there were always these clever things being put in place to keep that going. So that I do understand. And the whole application process and them popping up at the house and all that kinds of stuff. But we know, I feel like deep down inside, Black people know Black people. You know, we will hide something. we will hide something. And so I feel like we have to know that Black women didn't do that, because that is the propaganda that's out there, that we put our men out over the $90 worth of food stamps.
Until, I mean, once again, we have to understand the pathology, right? Once they saw that one woman in the building lose everything, get kicked out, stuff on the sidewalk because they found a man in there, a lot of women went. I mean, I'm not gonna say a lot, but I'm saying that proved the point.
It happened. Is
what I'm saying. That's all.
It happened.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is the reason why. I'm not saying Black women are the reason why. They're at fault for this, because if you put people in a certain situation, they're going to make a choice, and they're going to choose their kids over anything, right? And I don't fault Black women for this, because you have little children crying, don't have any food, hungry, whatever. You're going to do whatever you have to do, sell your ass, steal, whatever, in order to feed them kids. You're being put in a position. So, like I said, I'm not faulting Black women. I'm just saying this is what happened. That was a part of it. It wasn't just a fact that we got together. Like, from what people saying, oh, we got together at a rally and said, you know, we're going to leave these women. You know, it's for that to happen in the mass, as mass, men had to get together and say, oh, we going to leave these damn women somewhere else, and we just going to go drink in the corner or whatever. No, it's a bunch of stuff that happened at the same time, like you said, that made this happen. It wasn't Black men just saying, I'm going to leave my family. Because family was something we had. I mean, that's all we had. That is Black man's power, is his family. We forgot that now. We forgot it. But back then we knew that.
Right. But that also happened. So if we're not putting percentages on it, we know that some Black women did. The number wasn't zero. Where's my camera? Right there, right 0. The number wasn't 0. So yes, some Black women did go, oh, I'm not gonna get my benefits if this dude is here. So you gotta go. You gotta go. Some women did do that. It's just not the vast majority. But it also happened that some Black men left. It wasn't the vast majority, but some Black men left. And then we have the situation of just, we're toxic, we're not getting along, it's time to separate. I'm moving from here over here, or I'm going to go here to try to get some form of help, or my mind is just too gone, so now I'm out in the streets, I'm homeless. But it's not this volitional decision to just abandon my family and my kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's all that said. That's why I keep like kind of pushing back, because all that said is that men left their family, and it's like for that to happen, it had to be a Black men have never had a thing like feminism. They have never had a movement of Black men doing certain things. For that to happen, women leave happen, you had to have some kind of movement to do that, and that wasn't what happened.
Yeah.
You deal with enough Black men. You know, Black men don't talk to each other like that. We don't share with each other like that. We're in our own little, area, and yeah, we might talk about certain things, but we're not going to sit there and we don't trust each other. That's been implanted. So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not saying that whatever, but I'm saying policy is what affects everything.
Yeah, it does.
So that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it definitely does.
So we talked all this about, we spoke about communication. I haven't why men don't communicate.
Okay.
See, you think he's not talking to you because he doesn't want to communicate. That's not it. The problem is when he starts talking to you about the issues that he's having in the relationship, he's watching your body language, your facial expressions, and he can almost tell when you're going to explode. You see, he wants you to know that he's coming from a place of love when he wants to communicate his issues with you. But if you see it as a form of attack, instead of a man trying to get to the root of the issue and to be a part of the solution, you're going to continue to react in a negative way, which is going to make him shut down even more. And then sometimes you want him to hear your issues with him, but you don't want him to take it personal, do you? Listen, he craves to be able to talk to you and not have it explode into this big thing, right? Because just like you, he wants to get to the root of the problem and solve it. But he needs to know he can talk to you without you going off or feel like he's attacking you, because that's not what he wants to do. Just think about it. Be well.
Agreed.
And what's get healthy minded people? So I have to throw that in, because it's not all healthy minded.
Yeah, well, healthy minded people kind of got it down. It's the people that's not healthy that don't have it down. Yeah, that one. So I'm gonna preface it with not all Black women, because we know that we want to hear the not all.
Right. Gotta say it. Not all Black women. I'm not saying all y'all women.
Not all Black women, but I will say that right there, that is a problem. Like the communication, the way in which we speak to Black men is not okay. Like, and I get that we've gone through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, because again, as Black men were being locked up unfairly, Black women was being raped by a lot of those white men. And that's a lot of trauma to have to deal with. And a symptom of trauma is irritability and anger. We explode. We saw it, and when you reference the Vietnam vets, we saw it in them, but we've seen it in every vet. They come back with PTSD. There's this uncontrollable anger that comes roaring out over the most minimal thing. And without access to mental health, it just creates a very toxic environment. But Black women have to get a hold on to that, because we do have access to evidence-based mental health services now and evidence-based therapeutic services now. I don't fault my grandmother. I don't fault my mother's generation. I don't fault my grandmother's generation. But this generation, we have access to way more than what we have ever had. And that generational trauma that's being passed down, where someone, if they just say something minor to us, we take off like a rocket, we got to do something about that. Because there is no such thing as like building a Black family unit if we don't do something about that.
Get some fucking help.
Yes. Yeah. We got to get help, and a lot of us are. So I do want to say that when it comes to mental health care of our two counterparts, the men and the women, it is more Black women that are out here in therapy and that are doing the work. But there needs to be a lot more of us, because we don't hear y'all. We don't hear y'all, and I really don't like to put a whole lot on the Black women, but I will put that on us. We're walking around with so much anger, and I love Tupac for talking about that anger and for bringing light to where that anger has come from, and we still got to do something about it. Where it came from doesn't matter as much as us fixing it.
And I'm gonna quote Kevin said, making men present pay for the things that happen in the past equals, that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's from a lot of things. Is men are paying for the last guy, they paying for the last baby daddy, they're paying for the daddy that was absent. They're paying for the male teacher in school that put you down. They're paying for the pastor when you was in church that said something inappropriate to you that he shouldn't have. They're paying for it all. Like the one that's in your house that genuinely loves you, genuinely wants to raise your children, genuinely wants to hold you and aside you, he's paying for all that. He's paying for all that.
Get some fucking help. I found this little, it's a 3-minute video actually, but it's with Jerry Baldwin. I can't remember his name, but it's an older video, and let's get your thoughts on this. Hold on a second. All right.
Make it, because we don't have dreams these days. How the hell can you have a dream? For what? Well, it isn't. So everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me. And you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you'll lie to me. Because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the Black woman to ask of the Black man? For 10 years, so that we can get a child on his feet that says, yeah, father smiled at mother. He talked to me about school today. Who cares that you can read or can't read? Most Americans can't read. Most people can't read. They look at the pictures.
Baby, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But no, I'm going to be honest and think about it really. I'm not so sure that is a human possibility. If I have to smile all day, and the cat on the job, the foreman, you don't understand why I'm smiling. Not because I want to smile, I'm smiling because that baby needs new shoes. I can't give a performance all day on the job. and come home and give a performance all night in the house.
Okay, so one of the performances will stop.
Yes. So you say, and okay, I might be willing to go with it, but who's going to pay the rent?
Back to that again. The rent will get paid.
Look, baby, I'm willing to play it your way, but you have to see my point of view.
I see your point of view. But the rent will have to get paid.
The price of the rent is my smile.
No. I don't want you prostituting yourself. I demand.
I don't want you prostituting yourself either. One of us has got to work.
You will work it out. Because you are intelligent enough and you are sensitive enough. You are a man enough to work out a new system. Because we started off with everybody's protest now and we're back there again. As long as the assumptions are the same, nothing will change.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we must corner ourselves to make a new assumption.
Okay, how about it?
In case it was sort of like left up in the air or somebody, like I didn't get it across. I really think that my father, Jones Giovanni, is a groovy cat, and he's lived with my mother now for 35 years under holy wedlock, and I think that that's good for them. I think that that sort of thing worked for them. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the main thing, that they were able to love despite it all.
That's what we were talking about before.
Right, exactly.
And you, by the way, you do not have to tell me that you're your father. I knew that.
Yeah, I think he's a gas.
Yes,
I just don't want to marry him.
I love that clip.
Yeah, so did you kind of get like, we got one person talking about actual reality, and we got her talking about theory. Do you understand how, we were just talking about like what happened in the household, right? We saw this on the video. This is how it happened in the household, right? I'm telling you what it is out here in this world. I have to deal with it, right? I have to deal with this. I have to do the song and dance, Sambo, and all this other shit. Come home and you're telling me that no, you don't have to do that with that man. Do it with us and whatever. It's like, this is how you gonna tell me that what I'm doing is wrong, and I'm the reason why the kids are eating or whatever. So basically, everybody damn well don't.
I mean, I when I watched this clip, because I watched it a number of times, and it's one of my more favorite clips between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. And I immediately connected to what she was saying. The very first time I saw that clip, I immediately got, yes, exactly. I get what you're talking about. If you and I can remember having this same conversation in my own marriage. Like, you get out here, you fake it for the person at your job that doesn't really love you, doesn't really care about you. You're disposable to that person. You get out here and you smile in his face. You call if you're going to be late. If you're going to be late meeting, get into your job, you give him the respect of calling him. If you need to clock out early for an emergency, you give him the respect of communicating that. You get out here and you go into an organization with people that don't care about you at all. They don't give a damn about you at all. I love you, but you can't do that here in this house. You can't smile in this house. If you're going to be late, you can't call me, tell me you're going to be late. If an emergency arises and you need to be somewhere else, you can't give me the respect of calling me and tell me you got to be somewhere else. So I've always, that clip has always resonated with me. And the idea of, if you can fake it for them, you can muster it up to fake it for me. Because if we're going to put kids in this house, these kids have to see that to be okay. For them to be mentally and emotionally okay, they got to see that. And I remember him saying, I can't fake it for you. Like, in the way James Baldwin said it, I can't do it here. And of course, he didn't explain it as eloquently as James Baldwin was able to say. He just said, I can't do it. I think what it is there are some situations where it's going to be hard to figure out the solution in that situation. And to me, this is an example of one of the ones that's really hard. Because I can understand where he's coming from, and I can understand where James Baldwin is coming from, and I can understand where Nikki Giovanni is coming from. And as the woman, what she's saying resonates more with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those, every issue within a household is not going to be easy. There's a solution though, if we keep working towards that solution.
And I can give you the solution. I can give it. We just saw that video.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, she asked him to lie to her in order to make her feel better. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on. So the solution is that you have to understand my struggle as being a man, because I'm out here taking these hits. I'm getting spit on. I'm getting abused. You know, let's be honest. What's going on back then? 1971. They were being emasculated at every turn. So you come home, and what could have happened that would have made that better is that it is my job to make sure you come home that you feel a certain place emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made it absolved her of being a woman and doing what you're supposed to do in the house. You didn't hear anything about anything when you came home. You didn't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
All you heard is she wanted to come home and fake it, basically. And think about how damaging that could be to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can be myself outside. I can be myself in my own castle where I'm supposed to be comfortable at. And that's actually a perfect example that's been happening in the community with Black people, Black women. Like I can't go outside. Like when I step outside, me as a young pre-25, when I go outside, I'm automatically I get the bad looks from the women, white women, the white men, because I look like a thug. From the police, I've been stopped by police by just walking, not doing a damn thing, minding my own business, guns drawn, everything. Then I come home and I got to get a woman mouth that I'm not good enough. Understand? So he can't fake. He can't.
He can't fake it.
Bandwidth. He don't have the bandwidth to do anything other than try to find that woman that's going to allow me to lean on her. That's going to say, baby. So that's what we did in that video. The fact that I'm understanding things you go through. I want to make it better for you. And in turn, we going to fake it to your kids. Understand?
Well, so you're going in and out, but I'm following the conversation. But what I also have always heard when I watched that clip was a solution.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I understand, given that time, and even if you say it now in 2022, people are going to go, well, that's not a solution. But she gave a solution. She said, basically, in so many words, leave that job then. If you don't have enough energy to present here in this house the way you've presented at work, leave that work, because I have faith in you. I know you're going to figure it out, which then comes back to the Black man being the leader of the household and women being able to feel safe and relaxed when they know they got a good leader in the household. We naturally submit when we have a good leader in the household. So that's what I heard her say. I have faith in you. I have faith in you that you can pull it together. You can figure it out. And I hear that for Black men now who are in these jobs they're unhappy because they're dealing with so much crap. They're going back into the house. They're taking an attitude back into the house. They gruff. They don't want to converse with the kids. So the kids feel some kind of way about it. They're feeling detached. They're feeling uncared for, unloved by dad. And I feel like a lot of Black men today leave that job. You're smart. You will figure this out. You'll get it. Everything is not about you working for this Fortune 500 companies. Some things are about you starting your own business. Some things are about you using your skill and getting out here and working within our community and delivering a service to the people in our community. You figuring out a different way other than working for the organization that makes you miserable. That is what I was hearing for her. But I also am routinely having this speech with Black people because I don't believe that Black people should ever be working for an organization that's not theirs. I feel like the vast majority of us should be business owners. We need to be working for ourselves. We need to be educating our own children.
No, and I 100% agree with you, educating on. But let's go. I'm working my way back. So working for ourselves. You think Black people support each other to the fact that they allow us to do that?
Say that again, because you went out.
Do you think Black people support each other enough for us to be able to do that?
I think that we have a lot of what should I say? We've attempted this a number of different times.
Yeah.
It's been destroyed a number of different times by our own government. And I think that in 2023, people still live in the past.
I've talked to Black men about stuff like that, and I've heard Rosewood, I've heard Tulsa. I'm like, we can't live here. So I agree with you. Once again, programming, the whole programming. Go back to Willie, right? We take the big, strongest Black man, tied 4 horses, let him go in 40, set the man on fire. I program everybody, Black man, to not touch the faster. So that's why we can't do it. So my answer to what you just said was that in theory, yes, in theory, that can happen. But as a man, head of a family, you can't afford to. Well, you can't afford to think. You can't afford to have those thoughts. You know what is in right now, working. You're gonna keep on doing it to your own detriment, to your family, to your kids. That is what a man is. And the thing is, we have to understand that we have different outcomes. Men have different rules to being a Black man in America, and Black women have different rules. You know, it's more giving to Black women in society.
Yeah.
Go back to the 80s. The double minority. Jobs easy to today in the 80s. Policy. So the thing is that in theory, and it's is I believe him. But what's gonna happen if he steps away from that job? It don't happen. And it don't happen. She's gonna be telling them.
So you've been frozen for about a good 15 seconds.
So I said, what's going to happen when he leaves that job and it doesn't happen when it happened? Because he can't control outside of environment. He can't control it. Yeah, I'm smart as I want to be. But I can't cope. That's a perfect example. COVID, right? Think about the people that were having their own business, doing whatever they were doing, right? They were hurting. You can't control that. So the conversation have been stepped away from his job, Owen and Nicky Giovanni. Had he stepped away, and it didn't happen.
We'll figure it out. Like what she said.
With your crying
You will figure it out. Like we'll figure out. And I do think there is a lot of fear because there's like, so what if this happens and this doesn't work out? And then there's also the fear, the frustration that comes in that's in the house if it doesn't work out soon enough. So now, I'm the bum sitting on the couch and we're in all these arguments because I can't help pay no bills and she getting up and she going to work every day and she don't want to feed the kids and I don't want to deal with that. So that's additional fear. But I also think that's where the Black couple has to change. And Black women have to be more understanding of if he wants better and you want better and you both see better and he steps the right way from that job, it may take 2 to 3 years for him to figure it out. And he needs that support.
So I don't know if you heard because we went out, but the solution I had was that she never put her part of that solution. She never put herself in the solution, which was I need to be supported in this household to make sure you smile. When you come in the door, things to make sure you de-stress from that work environment. That was never mentioned.
No, it wasn't.
And
she said, you'll figure out. You're an intelligent man and you'll figure out. But I understood that. And I think a better way to rephrase that is we will figure it out.
But guess what it says to that man, right? It's on my shoulder. It's on my shoulder.
Yeah.
There was no inclusion in that statement.
Yeah.
She said, you'll figure it out. And she didn't put anything she's going to do to help out. It was awful. That's how we get looked at. That was a perfect clip,
Yeah.
So based on that, like a lot of men feel like that you don't. Because if I listen to my mother, she's gonna be happy until it falls to shit. Now it's on me.
Yeah.
So it's the difference between the way a man thinks.
I mean, the words are powerful. So the you came with a lot of power, where for him it put a lot on his shoulders. For me, it didn't, because when I heard you, I just heard we. But for a man, when he hears you, he hears himself. And I don't know how she meant it in that context. We could probably email her and ask.
Yeah, we might need to ask her about that.
Yeah, but for me,
something.
And as I'm thinking of a married couple, when I heard you, I heard we. So yeah, but I think that's where communication is very important.
I'm gonna call bullshit. I'm gonna tell you why. When it comes down to money, women have no problem saying when it comes down to money situations. She knows when it comes down to our money, right? She knows. That's why I'm calling bullshit. Ain't nothing wrong with the woman language. When it comes down to something that she's gonna be fully involved in spending our money, yeah, that's our money. She gonna say it all day long.
Yeah.
So now, unless Mr. sees this and writes it into and says, something otherwise, so I'm gonna call.
All right. I'll take that. I'll take that.
So I have. I'm gonna give the woman. We'll talk about solutions.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing is that if you want a man to eat, I'm gonna give you the it's gonna be.
Okay. You're still going in and out though. So there's an in and out, but there's also a delay.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you that I did not want you. This is the guy you look at right here.
Keep me coming
I heard this.
back for more. Baby, you're on.
So the thing about wielding a keyblade is that usually most swords have a specific hilt or a guard. The keyblade doesn't quite have something like that. So wielding it's a little different than normally.
I'm not dating him.
You're not dating him? Come on now. Come on now. Why you
not dating him?
That man was never. He is safe.
He is.
That is bad. You anime dudes, you have no choice with Dr. Toya. No chance with Dr. Toya. So on a serious note, I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna set out the guidelines so women can understand who black men really are. And these are figures from 20. Hold on one second. So this is the from 2027. So the figures are for men. The men that make above 50,000, only 33% of 50,000 to 70,000, 20% of black men. 75,000 more is 30%.
Yeah.
So this when you say you want a man to make a certain amount of money, we got all for 30% of making over 50,000. And majority six figures, so that's only 10%. 13 is right at 10%. You know, 41% of these guys are collar, 36% of collar, 23% of occupations. So that's the figure. If you want to know what you can get out there, so you that ain't out there.
Right. We're shooting for the 10.
Yeah.
We're shooting for the 10. So if only 13% makes $75,000 or more, we're talking about a small percentage for all these women out here.
So women more realistic in what they shoot for. And this is 5 top metro men that have jobs. Black men jobs. San Diego, California. Seattle, Washington. Denver, Colorado. Phoenix, Arizona. Minneapolis, Minnesota. The bottom 5. Milwaukee. Where you at?
Yeah, I could have told you that.
Birmingham. Little Rock. Cleveland. St. Louis. And I can't redo that. They got the smaller areas, but that's there. You can screenshot it, blow it up. You get to see kind of where you at, or you can focus for men to these towns.
Yeah. Yeah. I could have told you that Milwaukee was in that bottom 5 because it's a common thing here where black men don't work and rely on the woman that's working to provide. I actually was talking about this. I had a photo shoot on Friday, and me and the photographer was talking about this, and he was like, how did it get like this? And so I walked him through the history of Milwaukee. And again, it's going back to, it was all design. It's going back to all the systematic stuff that started with Reagan, who is like, I don't know who I dislike most, but I'm going to go with Reagan. I think I dislike Reagan most out of all. Out of all the presidents that I dislike. But it goes back to him and a whole lot of things that was intentionally done within Milwaukee to create situations where the black woman was working and the black man wasn't. And unlike what you and I was talking about earlier, where we talked about, so at some point the black man ends up out of the home, and it's a lot of things that leads to that. They didn't end up out of home. They stayed there. And so what we have is like 2 to 3 generations of black men who have watched women be the breadwinners. So they don't work, and they rely on the women to be the breadwinners. And it's a little peculiar here in that it's expected, where it's like, what do you mean? you're supposed to go to work, and I'm supposed to be the stay-at-home boyfriend, stay-at-home husband. You're not a woman if you're not the one that's working. So it's a weird role reversal.
So they castrate the man, and they got the woman believing the strong woman trope. They castrated the man, and they got the woman believing the strong woman.
So it's kind of the ideology here. You're not a real woman if you're not the one that's going out and going to work. Yeah, it's a little odd. So, or it's odd to me. I can't necessarily say that it's odd to them.
No, it's odd. The man doesn't work. He doesn't eat. I mean, that's standard among, and I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
So anyway, we done went around the world, talked about, painted a picture.
I know. It was a good topic. This was long.
Anybody watching this has anything to add, anytime, and feel free to put it out there. This will be on Facebook. Put snippets on it. So
cool.
We'll see what kind of think about this. Anything you got?
No, that was it. This is a good discussion.
I think it was too.
Yeah, this is a good discussion.
Next, we'll talk about the black women. Buckle your seatbelt. It might not be too nice. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I think us black women are becoming more and more used to holding ourselves accountable. Though I do agree that accountability is hard for us.
I'm gonna try to get some fucking help. I'm trying not to do that.
You're just gonna be throwing that out there.
I'm just getting out my system right now. So I won't say that. Anyway, we gonna talk about this week, and we're gonna talk about I got the title. Exactly. It's gonna be having a black woman, ADOS black woman. And see you next week. Back to
All right.
All right.
See you next week.
Peace.
Bye-bye.